Hey Scott,
Morning, Vince.
how are you?
Good. Oh, quiet. Okay. Actually, it's evening for you, isn't it?
Yes, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Saturday night. So is it your Saturday morning?
Let's see. It's 5 a.m. Saturday morning.
Right. Hmm. So are you normally an early riser, or did you?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. My body likes to get up early in the morning. Routinely, like I start waking up around 2 a.m. and like I usually get out of bed like by 2:30, and I have like a little gig that I do in the morning. So I'll get up and do that for a while, watch videos while I'm doing it, and just I don't know, just get up early.
Do you
I was
go to
thinking
bed early?
today. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So do you go to bed early?
Oh yeah, yeah. I start losing steam like around 5, 6 o'clock, and sometimes I'll go into bed like sometimes 5 o'clock in the evening, and
Oh wow. Okay. No wonder you wake up early. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know what. It's just so much more productive in the morning. It just kind of I
Oh.
got earlier and earlier, and my body just I guess seems like as I get older, I just wake up earlier anyway. But
Hmm. Oh, it can be a lovely time early morning. Hmm. Yeah. So how's the response to triggers going?
good, good. Like all kinds of stuff. I had to start writing it all down. Well, not writing it down, but I have I'm not into too well with journaling, so I just have keep notes on my phone. And when I because I wasn't really recording stuff because of the writing thing, and so I just started now with the keep notes. So I started having a list of the stuff that keeps coming up. There's so much of it. It's really great. It really is good. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to not trying to. I totally relax. Like I'm not unless there's something hidden. I feel like I'm just here, and I just do some stuff, do some inquiry. I don't worry about like if what's going to happen or if anything's going to change at all.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm sure life's going to throw something at me here soon, and I'll learn something.
Yeah, you can be pretty sure it will. Yeah, you don't have to be a gambling person to to take that one on. Life has a way of doing it, for sure. Yeah. But you do seem confident and relaxed about whatever comes up. That's really good. Yeah.
If I ever start getting thoughts that try to convince me that no, this is all crap, like all I got to do is just like, oh yeah, like not even probably a couple months ago, I was still grabbing on, and just it was a lot of work. Now I'm just it's not a lot of
Yeah.
work anymore because I'm just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being relaxed certainly opens you up to more because when you're working, you've got an end point in mind, and that's a narrow focus. So being relaxed is more productive than whatever my is.
Hello.
Marius
Yes,
going on.
I'm in the car waiting for my wife, and I thought I'd just join you guys. She'll be a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you still getting triggered, Scott? Are you just is life throwing you a curveball more than once a week?
I haven't gotten triggered for a while now. I'm I guess probably like, well, what I've been doing is looking more and more at the tiny little, the very small uh, sensations, and because I guess I guess how it really rolled out was I had a suspicion that because the way I did my day, like I get up and I do one uh, uh, chore or one thing after another with no interruption. And I was suspecting like you're just doing this because you're just running away from the feelings. It's a diversion. You're not allowing any downtime in between because you have this like goal at the end and you want to get these things all done. And when that's done, you'll feel like, like a person or whatever. And so I just started like, okay, I'm just going to sit here for a second in between each thing and just like try to feel what's inside there. And that really kind of helped a lot. That broke it out quite a bit because then I started to realize like it's like almost every time I have this impulse to do, there's like a sensation in here that has created a desire. I don't know what it is, but it like kind of prompts you to do something. Almost seems like it's that way. Like that's what creates every impulse or every even thought or just getting up to go, do something. I mean, I thought I noticed a difference when it was a need. Like if I had to go to the bathroom, it's almost like that sensation was. It seemed different. Maybe it's not. Uh, but it seemed like, well, oh, I know what this is. This is a need. I have to go to the bathroom. So I just, okay, there's a sensation. I'm going to get up. It didn't seem like it needed any
Yeah, yeah.
uh, inquiry, And then, so right now, like my girlfriend is, she's got a lot of trauma. So she's working her way through therapy and kind of in the side saddle here with me. So when she gets triggered, that's when I have the most I guess you could call it triggering. I have this sensation that, I want to fix it, that I don't want her to cry. I don't want her to be dysregulated. I don't want her to be upset. So that's the strongest feeling that's happening in the recent past is being able to not, how do I put this?
Respond,
Realize it. Say again.
respond. So what you,
Respond or not respond. Like to be able to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh, um, experience it without trying to fix it and allow her to to vent and to express and to
yeah.
cry. And when she cries, like it used to drive me crazy, and now I feel the impulse to try to fix and control. But um I'm working with it now. It's like I guess I'm say without really trying to, I'm just being in the gap, just sitting next to her, realizing that no
Yeah,
responses.
okay. Mm. What comes to mind is, and I'm certainly not saying I know what goes on, but it appears to me like this impulse to do something that you're not responding to, the impulse is on the other side of the gap. It is already the reaction. Now you're not reacting to the impulse for the reaction. But where I want you to focus, what I'm asking you to do is to look at what is the sensation underneath that one. So when she cries or when you get that impulse to do something and you go, oh, I'm just going to sit with this or I'm going to allow that to happen. But what you're doing is you're the activity reaction is not happening. You're not letting that happen. Okay, so that's okay. So it's not, but it's not happening. It's the reason it's not happening is for the wrong reason. I feel bad saying this because it's good that it's not happening. It's good that you're not reacting, right? And it's good that you can see that there's no compulsion to act, that compulsion was part of the story that was there for that kind of thing. But so the next step, so this is it. So it's good what's happening, right? But the next step and the next step for you, because there's no rest for the wicked and you're very wicked, right? So the next step is what triggered that impulse in you to react, that you're not succumbing to, but there was something in you that triggered that up.
At first, while you were talking, I'm like, I'm getting a blank, but then I just started getting a feeling that it's again, it's a something that an attitude or a conditioning that I got in my childhood where I wanted everybody to be not to fight and not to be aggressive to each other. Like
Yep.
I feel like maybe as you bring it over into my life and I see my partner in distress. Yeah, I was a fixer, I guess.
Mm.
I don't know, but anyway, it could be that. Like it's my responsibility that uh,
Yeah,
she's emotionally
you've worked
involved.
out how to fix the reaction, right? So you're not reacting in the way that the impulse wants you to react, right? So you fix that, so to speak, by, well, I don't know what by, but that's is certainly worth looking at. How are you fixing that? You're fixing it by shifting perspective. You're recognizing the perspective is wide enough that it allows you to say, I don't need to react to it. And you're also recognizing that there's no compulsion in the sensation to react to it. All good stuff, all really, really good stuff. But why did it turn up in the first place? So we would have to turn our gaze from the external thing, like your partner crying or whatever it is that you are not reacting to inwards. What did that situation provoke? And
I
and
mean, at, at the very core, it must have to do with remnants of a self, like
oh yeah, yeah,
remnants
yeah.
of.
Okay, well, don't reason that though. That's no point in working it out logically. What you have to do is see what's underneath. Right? So what I'm saying is the job's not finished when you can see that you don't have to react and the reaction doesn't occur. It's at that point that you can spin around and look back through time, use your memory, I suppose, to look and see what was it that triggered in you that got that impulse to do something going. And it will be some belief you've got. Now we can't hunt it out. We can't set the dogs on it and expose it. All we can do is recognize that there is something there that will show itself when the time is right. And it's really subtle stuff. This is very, very, we're getting into the more minute kind of stuff that's hanging around, and we're looking deeper. So do and don't do exactly what you're doing. Everything's wonderful, but recognize that there's just more that can expose itself, that can reveal itself to you if you're quick enough. And you've got to be quick enough in a really relaxed way. You can't coil up like a spring in order to spin around and catch it because it sees you intense. You've just got to be kind of casual in the way that you spin around and look at where it came from.
So, what is the question then again? The question is, what, what,
Now you can see the impulse to do something, right? Or the reaction, right, to your partner's crying or whatever examples. Right, just finish one job, the impulse to get straight into the next job. You can see the impulse to do something. And the question is the question that we don't need an answer for, but it will show itself if it's appropriate. But that question is, what was behind that?
okay, what was behind the
What was behind the impulse
impulse?
that you're
Okay.
not actually expressing? So we're looking with we've got the magnifying glass out now. So we're kind of looking at really subtle. You're looking for a hint almost. It's because it's been used to hiding this stuff. That impulse is a way of not addressing what 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 happened in you, what was triggered, what were you reminded of. Probably would be a way to put it.
Hmm.
But I would say,
Are
look,
you?
forget all that. You're doing great with what you're doing. Just sorry, Maurice.
No, I just wanted to clarify because are you, you keep saying impulse, but I see impulse and reaction as two different things. So the reaction would be what the sensation that is inside of you, and the impulse is the next sensation that wants to do something about it. Is that what you're, is that the language you're using now?
It's not the way I was meaning it, but how is it? How does what do you think, Scott? What comes to mind for you? You were seeing the impulse. They were your words. What you were saying. You saw the impulse to keep busy, the impulse to
Right.
yeah.
So, all right. So we're talking about, like, right now. I'm going to use my girlfriend. Okay, this situation with her.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's I see, you know, certain behaviors that I have labeled emotional distress, and then there's a sensation, and I probably label it pretty quick as just, internal distress, like a negative sensation, and then immediately after that, it seems like thoughts come of like, oh no, I don't want her to be in distress. What can I do about it? And then the thought comes, there's nothing to do about it. My job is to sit here and, hold space for her. So I'm not sure how to define this stuff. Like, I guess when I say impulse, I feel I'm talking about the desire to take action due to a sensation, I guess is what I'm
Mm.
Okay.
calling impulse.
Yeah. So you
And
see
then
that
the
it's,
reaction. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I just wanted to clarify that you see that it's two mm, sensational experiences, if I can say it in that way. So there's first a sensation of an uncomfortableness with the situation, and then there is an impulse to basically actually get away from that uncomfortableness. It's actually not something to
Right.
do with your
I want to fix
girlfriend.
it. I want to fix it because it's creating a sensation inside that I don't want.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm trying to manipulate her. I'm not giving her a bubble.
Well, whatever activity comes to mind is it's that attempt to move away from that uncomfortable sensation that comes when you perceive her distress. So what I'm saying is when you perceive her distress, it's not her distress that you're responding to. Her distress is triggering your distress, and that's what you're responding to.
And the very base of that is the less than the conditioning in there. I know it's bullshit. But the conditioning that's remaining in there that says not enough, you're not good enough to, you know,
Oh, that stuff.
something
Yeah,
about some, yeah,
yeah,
all that
yeah,
not good
yeah,
enough stuff.
yeah.
That's the base of it. You know what I mean? It all
Yeah, but
comes
you know
from
what?
there.
That's
So
work, don't you? That's not even as strong as toilet paper. Just dump it in the shit house and flush it.
no, it doesn't even exist. But yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like it tries pokes its head out every once in a while, or maybe more than
Yeah,
that.
of
Maybe.
course, and that's reasonable to expect because it's been there a long time, hasn't it? So, yeah, it'll come visit from time to time, but the moment it does, you just got to laugh. What the fuck are you doing here again? How come you turned up? That's a lighthearted curiosity about it is, yeah, it's what it's all it's worth, really.
It really is awesome because on the face of it, you're like, oh, that's not much. But then all I have to do is like look back and just compare it with how I was thinking last month. Like it was real to me last month, and now when it pops up, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that's like absolute bullshit, and it doesn't really affect me. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
normally I would take a hit. I would take a hit, and my mood would probably come down.
Yep.
Certain number of degrees,
So this
whatever.
is a classic proper way to handle doubt. That's just beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
You'd share that around, you'd go a long way there. That's a good one. Yeah.
Would it be
That
accurate to say, Scott, that it's fear that you're feeling?
um yeah, I think so. Fear but shame mixed in with it too.
Mm.
I don't like I had this other thing that came up. It's totally intertwined with this, but I don't know if you remember me talking about my son's wife and her criticizing him and how my stomach went crazy. And then so I finally later on I inquired and realized it was connected to my own divorce. And then but I didn't take it any further. And then just recently, I don't know what it was. I had all this. I don't even remember how it happened, but all of a sudden I'm like, because I thought that there was like shame was missing. I thought shame was hidden somewhere. I couldn't see it. I knew it must be there, and then I realized, okay, like the pain of the divorce was like an extension of a failure, not good enough to stay married. You know, again, it goes back to the not enough, but like that's a whole shame complex associated kind of coming from not enough and associated with my divorce, especially related to my kids. I don't know if that made sense or not.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, well, that's exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not, it's perfectly reasonable and perfectly normal. And I experience it myself when somebody's upset, well, however you want to put it, is, will I just say it's the mirror neurons in my brain? I don't know. But if somebody around me is upset, I get upset. And I don't mind that.
Yeah,
And when
I'm just asked. Yeah,
you
I
go,
just wanted to clarify why I'm asking that because you mentioned you're a fixer when you were young, and a lot of the times when we want to fix something when we're young is because we we are afraid. We are afraid of the chaos that we need to fix. So we're trying to fix it because
Oh, it's there.
we're scared, right? And
Yeah.
so that's oh I don't want you to adopt this story, but look into if there is if the fear that you're feeling is just a fear of not being in control of the situation. So you feel unsafe because it's triggering some wound in you from your a child that
You nailed
was
it on the head.
unsafe.
You hit it straight on
And
the head.
then yeah, and so when you kind of without going into the story about what that is about, but you recognize that it's a fear. Um, um, just recognize also that you are completely safe. There's nothing dangerous here. It's just a reaction.
I actually forgot about the fixer thing. Like it just popped out of my mind, and now I remember things.
Mhm.
That's a different angle. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have to keep everything together.
would it be accurate to say you feel like that, but you know it's not so?
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's not so. It all sneaks in around the edges. Like, but I see my behaviors. I see I remember several behaviors as a child, and now I can see how I run the household or how the household is being run. I can see how I'm, and it's part of the safety thing. Like, yeah, fear, yeah, part of putting the rules for living, putting these rules to keep anything negative from occurring, and yeah, put a little bubble around the environment. Yeah,
Hmm. Well, this will be the third time I've said this today, but it seems relevant again now. You've been steering the boat most of your life, and you've never tried taking your hands off the tiller and seeing what happened. I'll guarantee you this boat called life will not run aground if you let go of the tiller.
Yeah, it's a big thing in or I can only speak from my own experience, but for me it's starting to trust life. It's one thing to kind of see through the illusion of control. Is another thing to actually just let go and and trust life and respond to moment or from moment to moment instead of kind of subtly trying to control your surroundings. It's scary. It's that is, I think that is what most people are afraid of when we're speaking about facing the void or all of those stuff. Is it's just really letting go, trusting life.
Yeah, it's not something that's under. I don't think it's something that's under our control. I think it just you have to keep reorienting yourself, and then it will show. Like the thing is, like now when I see it happen, it used to be like I'd be like, oh man, I just not can't make any progress. And now I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen at some point, or it's not, or it already has, or I don't worry about it. Like
Yeah.
I feel like, if nothing changed, everything would be good. Like that's how I look at it. Like right now, if nothing changed, I'd be fine. Like I'd be fine. Yeah, I knew fear was strong from the very beginning, but like a lot of times you can't really see. Sometimes you'll some of your behaviors you just don't realize. Oh yeah, that's from fear. Like so. Anyway, the next time I find myself next to Anna and she's dysregulated, I'm going to be, so what in me am I trying to avoid by having this feeling? Maybe it'll come out.
Yeah, that's kind of a bit too intellectual, though. It keeps it up at the head level. You're going to look for with your mind. Right? So an improved version of that would be for you to inquire into the body as to what more subtle feeling is behind the discomfort that gets provoked by her distress. Right, so you can see straight away. You can see that your reaction to her distress wants to get going, but now you see that your reaction to her distress is a way of you keeping away from an uncomfortable feeling in yourself. And you see that, and you see that uncomfortable feeling. That's that contraction you were mentioning that precedes the impulse to do something. And now I'm saying keep looking for more subtle clues. Don't look hard. Just be open to recognizing what might show itself, if it shows itself, a subtle feeling behind that. And you might it might present itself to you as a memory. Very likely, very good chance it might be a childhood memory that had the same feeling around it, the same sensation that you're calling distress.
I feel I know one right now. I know one. I know two.
Yeah. So those ones that the curious looking next time life presents you with the opportunity to see if either of those or both of those are present. And they'll be sneaky, they won't be big. Just see if they're there, that's all.
Wow. Yeah, I already.
I mean, the fact that they came to mind suggests that they're relevant.
They're definitely relevant. It came up when Marius was talking. I totally. There's two instances from my childhood. I was trying not to go in there because we were talking about not going into the story, but and I'm not worried about the story. But it's interesting to see. Okay, yes, this is where my mind was during those two instances, and is it similar to what's happening right now? And from memory, it seems like it's almost the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. That brings you back another step. It's like, it's
Yes,
great. It's like, oh yeah. Like when you see where the conditioning came from, it's so much easier to drop it.
yeah, yeah. Because until you see it, it's still like an infant with a narrow perspectives view of it, and it seems way bigger than what it actually is when you see it from an adult perspective. So what you do is you recondition. You take the old conditioning and you replace it with something else, or you drop it. You just see through it just by seeing it. That's all.
It's like a mini awakening,
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is.
right?
You get lots of them, little ones like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I can't wait. Hope she gets dysregulated today.
uh, there'll be plenty of other opportunities for things to.
Yeah. It's just the less than thing. Once I say, "Oh, you're going to forget about this, man," you better get her upset right away so you don't forget.
No, yeah, look, you worry about forgetting it. Like I keep saying, we're just casting seeds out. The ones that germinate, great. No, the others will keep throwing out. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, with not having control, you go, well, I wonder what's going to pop up. Yeah, it's all good. How have you been, Maya?
Fine. I thought I didn't make anything in the last few days. I'm with my parents now, and there are a lot of practical things to do, so I don't deal with myself much. But I'm staying here with them. I'm staying with my mom, and everything now everything seems so relevant. Uh, she doesn't she doesn't make me react. I don't react. So it's always appropriate. It's no problem for me to. But there are impulses. Yes, I I do feel triggered sometimes. And now you remembered me. Okay, I have to look into these triggers as well, the small ones, even in the small ones.
Mm,
But now this discussion about control. Well, there is so much going on here in Zagreb. When I'm here, it's completely chaotic. I know I don't have control. I know I don't have control. And there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just sitting and watching. There are my parents. There's my cousin. There's my work. Everything that's completely crazy. And then I go back to England, and there's a total different situation, and I can relax. There are no triggers, not anything. And at some point I thought maybe it would be better for me to stay here in Zagreb with all of them and just to let the situation hit me completely. And I would see what would happen then, because there's so much shit flying towards me here. Now, my cousin is in the care home. It's getting a problem to finance it because the social services are very slow. I'm not able to use her apartments for anything. Then what will be the decision? Will I sell her apartment or will I rent the apartment? I know it would be better to rent, but I don't have money to renovate it, and I don't want to renovate her apartment for her sister to inherit it someday. And I will invest my money. I'm not that crazy. I am looking after my younger cousin, but it will be insane. And I just understand I'm not able to make a decision now. There's no decision now. And okay. And today I'm talking to some neighbors here, and they say we need to renovate our apartment, and they will probably throw everything out of their apartment, and there will be stuff for me to take and to renovate my cousin's apartment for no money. I still have to talk with the neighbors, but the situation somehow resolved itself.
Mm.
After I said I cannot make any decision, then something that isn't resolved yet, but it will be somehow, and I cannot make any decision. My mom, we are above the neighbors, in a flat above the neighbors who will renovate the apartment. And my mom got very sensitive to noise, and it will be a big problem. And I talked to her an hour ago, and I said, "But you can go into our vacation home." But she doesn't remember it, and she said, "No, where would I go? We don't have any vacation department." She doesn't remember it anymore. It's a problem now, but I'm not able to resolve it now. No solution at the moment. We'll see. When it starts, maybe she'll remember that she has a vacation home. So there's really too much, and I have no choice but to say, okay, I cannot do anything about
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Good.
And
Have you
it's
got
fine.
any pictures of your vacation home?
I could, yeah.
Maybe that will
Well,
jog a memory or something. Yeah.
yeah, thanks. I didn't think of it. It might help, yeah. Or of her being there. So, yeah. Great, thanks. Yeah, we'll do it. They start in some 2 weeks, so I have 2 weeks to think.
Mm.
But as I said, and I'm not concerned because I don't have a decision. It's just what it is, and something will be. The time will simply go on, and the things will be.
Yep.
Imagine if that suggestion Vince just gave you fixes the situation, and then we have another example of it just resolving itself.
Yeah, I'll try this today. She'll forget again, but then we will have a tool. I'll give my dad the picture, and I'll tell to him when you need to go. Just show her the picture. If it works, I'll tell you tomorrow evening. I'll do it today. Yeah. Because when we have to do something with her, we have to talk about it many times. Then she remembers.
Mm.
Sometimes if she doesn't like it, she'll never remember it anymore.
Mm. Mm.
She'll forget about it every time. And then no, I had my last lectures for the semester. A new topic now. I had my last lectures for the semester 2 days ago, so I survived the semester. I am I'm not happy because I'm not able to look into it as I would like to. After the last lecture, I gave to the students. I asked them to do an evaluation to tell me what they liked about the class, about this thing, or and what they didn't like,
Yep.
what they think I should improve, and so on. They were all positive reactions, all positive reactions. But I came out of the classroom completely drained, and I felt bad. So it's really, it has nothing to do with the students, with their reactions, with anything. It only has to do with me. So I had this sensation. It was some dull, and it was dull, and it was like a big in the body, everywhere in the body, and all this. It was heavy, dull, and big. And I thought, oh, there's a sensation, and it it's good to look at. But then I just looked at it so somehow half-heartedly, and I saw myself looking at it half-heartedly, and how I'm sorry about it because I'm not able to work with it now. So yeah, I'm able to observe myself. This is the only thing, but I'm not able to look at everything. I just chose some distractions, and I saw myself choosing the distractions, knowing that, well, I have some nice sensation to work with, but I don't want to.
Right. Did you punish yourself? I, I, I'm joking in a way, but what
Yeah,
I'm getting at is, did you? It sounds like you were judging yourself as not
a
being what you
bit,
should be. Yeah.
a bit, yes, yes, a bit. But I also had an excuse, and that is that the class was in the evening, and I was really tired. And the sensation was the best in the evening because afterwards, in the morning, I already slept over it, and it was
Yep.
not that clear anymore.
Mm.
But yes, judging was there, a bit of judging in any case.
And do you judge the fact that you judged?
No,
Good.
no, it happened.
Mm. So when
I,
when when you see that you say you're tired and you aren't inclined to do the work, would that be the way to put it?
yeah.
Is that also just happening?
I think I'm ready to accept it. I think I'm ready to surrender to it's just happening
Mm.
at this moment.
Yeah.
At some other, who
It's well,
knows?
of course, and we don't expect any absolute consistency. We're human after all, we come and go all the time, moving, moving, moving. It's it's yeah, I don't. So it's like you're saying I'm I'm on the verge of doing that, of letting go. It's like, oh, there's a lot of effort in opening the hand.
Either you do the work or you don't do the work. It's just life living, like it's life deciding, okay, this is the work I'm going to be doing now, and And when you don't do the work, it's life deciding, nah, this is not the time to do the work.
It's more and more so for me. More.
Yeah.
Not always, not every time, but I see it more and more. And it feels relaxing. This control thing, it is going. It is going. It's not gone, but it's going. Yeah, a bit of judging, but yes, the judging happened because I was like really off guard a bit. But I was off guard. I was tired and
Hmm.
it was just like that. I mean, it's about me saying I was able to observe something or I wasn't able. I mean, okay, sometimes you are able to observe something, sometimes you're not.
Yeah, or you could say sometime life is showing you what to observe and sometimes not.
Yeah,
There's nobody doing that. Nobody choosing to
yeah,
observe or not to observe.
yeah. Well, I'm still not completely out of I am choosing something, but it's like it's really diminished this grip of control.
It's a process,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah. And sometimes somehow I meet people and they know about my situation and all the crazy stuff, and they ask me, "How are you?" And they said, "I'm great. Things are crazy, but I'm great."
When you say you're almost out of the control thing, I want to ask you if you're out of the delusion of having control, or are you talking about the illusion of control is lessening? If that's not clear, I can say more, but yeah, do you know what I mean?
Please, please do. No, say more.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a whole lot of things involved in this. So the delusion of control is the absolute certainty that you're there running the show, right? That's a delusion. You've got a belief that trumps everything else. You are the one doing everything. That's a delusion. Then when that gets shaken, when that belief is seen through and we go, well, I can actually see that I haven't got control, but it feels like I have sometimes. If that's the case, then we're talking about the illusion of control. It's just the appearance of being in control sometimes exerts itself.
It will be the second, the illusion.
The illusion, right? Yes. So what we're so we're
Not
not
the,
so we're not actually talking about you being stuck in the idea of having control. We're just talking about the habit of feeling like you're in control shows itself sometimes.
oh, okay. Habit.
I missed that last word you said.
Yes, it fits. It fits the habit.
The habit, yes, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So we know. So there's not a problem of we still believe we're running the show, where there's only
Hmm.
this rather interesting phenomena where it seems like it sometimes.
Yes,
And when
yes.
you put it like that, it's not a biggie. It's not a big deal at all. It's just a bit of a remnant that's hanging around, and you don't even need to pay any attention. It'll go by itself.
Okay. And it went because life is crazy. I mean,
That's the best.
sitting in my meat suit,
I love it.
sitting in my meat suit and watching things unfold around me, you cannot think anything else but that the things are just happening.
Yes. It's so obvious, isn't it? When it's obvious, it's so
Yeah,
obvious. Yes. Yeah.
it's so crazy. Like the cousin ends up in the care home 50 years old. My mom getting dementia, me living 2,000 kilometers away. So everything, it's just nuts. Situations when someone says, if this was in a movie, I would give it 1 point on Rotten Tomatoes because it's too crazy. So you cannot think, and there can't be anything else but that life is doing its thing around me.
Yep.
It's really not me throwing all these things towards me.
Yeah. The way
But
I
even your inner life,
yeah, go on.
I just wanted to point out, like we're focusing now on the external, what's happening around, but I also want to kind of point that the internal happening or apparent internal, um, where we're just talking about there, either you're kind of in a either what's happening you're working on your on what we're talking about here, or you're not. You're also not in control of that.
But when everything else, when the external is so crazy, it puts you in a position that you are not able to do anything else. So you do what you can do. So it somehow it makes you also just be, you know. I mean, when the challenge is small, then you can handle it and you can have the illusion that you have control. But when the challenge is big, then it's like you're losing the ground under your feet. And
Yeah.
if I played tennis with 10 people at the same time, I wouldn't be able to catch all the balls. So,
Hmm.
you know, yeah. It helps to
Yeah.
see in yours. And I will do what I can do. I won't be able to do everything, and it's fine. And I will somehow randomly and haphazardly, I will do whatever of the things that I should do or need to do. Or it helps with many aspects here. Seeing that you don't have control, seeing that you have to accept, seeing that you have to surrender, helps with many aspects. A lot of
Yeah.
shit in your life is very helpful,
Hmm.
even externally.
When so just something that comes to mind again, it's subtlety and continual polishing of these tools to get better and better at them. And what I was just hearing you say, I believe that when you said, I am doing this and I am doing that and whatever. I know that you know that there's no self there, but what I'm suggesting is that you drop the nouns and try and put things as verbs as much as possible. And so when you say, I am eating this soup, just say soup eating is happening, or eating soup
Okay.
is happening. Not out loud necessarily, because that can be a problem depending on your circumstances, who you're with, and so on. But just to yourself, just to also break that language habit that keeps it personal. We do, and then you come back to later to saying I am, but well, or even in your way of thinking. So if you keep referring to things as a happening, they just happen. For we don't need to de- describe why it's happening. We just know that that's a happening. And
Mhm.
if we include ourselves in that, it also loosens that personal connection.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
You just play with that game. You don't take it seriously. Just play with it. Yeah.
I love games.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
This is great, and this is interesting. I have to be cerebral a bit. I'm sorry. Just a second. I have to.
Yep.
There's a situation I have to
Yeah. No
be
worries.
right back.
So you can talk with us, Michelle. You don't have to show your face if you don't want, and you can talk or you can not, whatever you like.
Thank you. Well, it's actually only 4 in the morning here. I'm in Colorado, United States, but I was awake and I thought, oh, I have it in my calendar that Vince's group is right now. I'll log on and see what's going on.
Good one.
So
Yeah.
I don't, thanks. So I don't really have anything to share at the moment, but I'm really grateful to be here in the community.
Yeah. Good to have you
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Since we have an open channel, Marius, how are your fruit cheese?
Oh, I think I haven't checked in on them for a little while. So, but I have an uncle, so to speak, who's taking care of watering them, and yeah.
A local
So
Thai person, or is it?
yeah, it's my wife's uncle.
Oh, a real uncle. Okay, okay. Gotcha. Oh, is your
Yeah,
wife Thai?
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah. So they have, they're farmers, so they do their farming and they take care of our trees.
Nice.
So you've grown
Yeah,
them
I'm
from
really
seedling.
missing. Sorry.
You've grown them from seedling.
Uh, a little bit. There weren't quite seedlings. They were a little bit bigger than that, but yeah, not
Not grafted, I mean.
not
Yeah.
so much bigger. Yeah,
Yeah. It can take a fair while for them to start producing fruit, I guess.
yeah. I think the Thais told me I could expect some fruit in 2 years.
Okay. That's
So
pretty quick for a lot of fruit trees.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a timeline when you're gonna? Are you? I'm assuming you're gonna want to move there, right? Or I guess we never really talked about your plans.
Yeah, there's an intention. There's no timeline. There is a uh, how should I say, an intention and steps being taken towards that happening, but there's no how should I say, concrete plans or attachment to when it's going to happen. I used to have a sort of a desperate energy of making it happen before all of this, and I can see how that actually just keeps it at a distance from happening. Just have a relaxed approach about it, and focus on, the day-to-day steps on what needs to happen for that to happen. And then I'll invite you all to come visit on the farm. I just need to set up like 6, 7 bungalows. Then we're
Be
there.
careful because I may never leave.
That's okay.
What
I
did I
like
miss? What
community.
did I miss?
I was just talking about I have an intention to move or partially move to Thailand because my wife is from there and we really enjoy being there. So, and I have, or she has some land, a farmland, which we have like a dream of setting up a few bungalows so we could invite people and you know kind of have a retreat setting.
This is situation resolving for you? Resolving itself?
Yeah, that we're just talking about it. There's no concrete plans. It's just what needs to happen day by day. So I have trust in it resolving, and I see it moving forward. But there's no kind of mm, desperate energy around getting there like it used to be before.
I know desperate energy.
Mm.
I have a question. How do you recognize that you're safe?
You is that direction or a question directed to anyone or anyone?
Well, Marius, you talked about it. You used this in your talk with Scott.
Yeah.
That it's important to recognize that you're safe.
Well, what I was referring to in that talk was there's no immediate physical threat. You are safe, although it might feel like there is danger because a wound had been triggered, but there's no tiger around the corner or there's nothing physically threatening you or your life.
How can you know?
or you just look.
Yes, in your visual field and your sensations and your hearing and your tasting and your smelling, not in your thoughts.
Maybe you don't recognize that you're safe. Maybe that's only a description that can be applied afterwards. So being safe is a nothing state. It doesn't exist as anything. But being in danger does. So you can recognize the existence of a threat if one exists, and that's tangible, that's something. But the absence of that is what we might describe intellectually as safety. So safety doesn't exist as a thing, but danger does. So rather than try and consider whether or not you are safe, actually look to see if there is any actual danger. And the danger that you can't see or doesn't impinge on any of your senses doesn't actually exist for you. It's not to say there's no actual tiger around the corner, but he's not going to come at you if you don't see him there, if you don't know he's there. And the moment you go, well, I think I'm in danger, you're responding to a fantasy.
I know, like with my girlfriend, she has a lot of trauma, and she has this over, like, she describes it as just she always feels like she's either in trouble or she's not safe. It's kind of like a, how she describes it is just like that's just how she feels all the time, and it just gets worse at certain times, but that's her starting point, is I don't feel safe.
Right. See,
And
that's a negative that can't be proved, so she's responding to that. But if you say,
well,
please respond to what the actual danger is, then she has to look for danger. She's not responding to the feeling, eh?
I'm sorry, Vince, but oh, it's it's just because my body reacts. My body thinks it's in danger.
it's trauma. Yeah.
I don't see a danger, but my body feels like that. It's sometimes, in healthy people, it's intuition. Yeah, like you go into an alley and you see no danger, but something in your body gets, and it's intuition, and it's good. But for me, it's like everywhere is this dangerous alley, and I wish it would be so, but I could ask kindly my body, please respond only to the danger that I sense.
Yeah, I get that. But you were responding to imagined danger. You're not responding to actual danger. Even in the alleyway, certainly I accept that the likelihood of that being a dangerous place is much higher. But when you look around and there's nobody but you, what you're responding to is a story you've got going somewhere. What could happen?
Or it is intuition, and I'm sensing something, I'm just not aware of it.
Well, it could be that too. Of course, it could be that. Yeah. So you frequently feel this way. There's danger all around. How often does it reveal itself to be actual danger?
No, for me, it's not intuition, it's just dysregulated system.
I'm inclined to think, I mean, it's degrees too. I'm inclined to think that we respond to imagined danger pretty much the same way we respond to actual danger. And it is a biological reaction as well. So I'm not for a moment talking about trying to convince yourself that you're safe or to convince your body not to feel that. I'm just talking about recognizing that it is a belief that there is danger that you're responding to with the sensations that you call fear. I'm not offering an answer to that. That's obviously not something that can be changed easily. If it's something that's been around for a long time, it's pretty ingrained, isn't it? But recognizing that you're responding to what you think might happen is a really good first step to starting to change that.
It's not always
This is
apparent what um, thought is. There's not always a thought in focus when you are dealing with that kind of fear. I find like it's so ingrained. It's been there over such a long period of time that there's no obvious thought that is provoking the threat. Is more like the
Yeah.
the fear is chronic.
You say it's always there, Bianca.
Mm, I can distract myself from being aware of it, but we were talking that I can be shaking all the time. I just don't notice it when I'm focused on something else.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a slightly tricky one. Can you accept that for you, when you are distracted from it and not aware of it, that it actually doesn't exist for you? Even though logic would say, oh, it's there all the time, because you're not aware of it, it doesn't exist for you at that moment.
Mm-hmm. But it's still in the body, and I think it's just
Yep.
tiring for the body, and
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
that's why I have so low energy.
Yep. And I rather imagine it keeps you full of stress hormones as well.
Have you tried TRE, Bianca?
You know, my body is doing TRE all the time on its own. But yeah,
It is literally,
I've
isn't
tried.
it? Yeah.
I've
Do you have
tried
access?
not systematically, just to feel how it feels.
Do you have access to any like trauma therapy?
Yes, I am in therapy.
You're in therapy, trauma therapy?
And for now, it's we are in gathering information, belief system, not the actual techniques to deal with the trauma.
It's really helping my
So,
girlfriend.
yeah, I would like to share on that as well. Fear is definitely something that has felt like was an underlying theme throughout my entire life as well, to where there was like always a hypervigilance and unable to feel like I could even live fully because I have to be prepared for anything at all times. And actually, just recently, I had an appointment with a trauma therapist, and something that she suggested, well, I got to the core of it's always a feeling that I'm not okay, always. And she had suggested that when a thought comes up that creates the fear, which it really always was a thought, I was able to detect that and then go into my body to feel the sensation that is happening there. And instead of following the thoughts, just really be with, so at the thought of, I'm not okay, I would go in my body and feel that very, very uncomfortable, but feel where that was and notice, am I okay to be with the feeling of that I'm not okay?
And was it always in the same place, the same feeling in the same place, Michelle?
Well, I only got that suggestion a week ago, and
Oh,
since
okay.
then, and since then too, I think I've had a bit of an awakening also. So that's shifting a little bit now too
Good one. Yeah.
with identity shifting. So it's been quite a eventful week. But it was definitely, well, I can't even remember where it was. I know I hold things in the digestive area, but as far as where the I'm not okay was probably more in my chest. But just being with that initial feeling, and am I okay with feeling not okay? Even though to my mind seemed like, well, I don't wanna feel
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah. And you don't want
But
to
in
be
the act,
okay with feeling not okay either.
right, but in actuality,
Yeah,
when
it's
I,
not so bad.
yeah, it was not so bad when I was with it. It was running away from it that continued to cause
Yes.
it's very weird.
Mm.
I also even found anxiety at the root was never actually anxiety. It was um, that I was not wanting to feel like the anxiety was kind of overriding another feeling underneath
Yep. Yep.
that really wanted to come out.
Yep.
And that anxiety wasn't really the core thing. That
Mhm.
was really surprising to me. So again, then I would, if any time. So actually, what I've been doing for about 2 weeks now is, I didn't have children, and so it was like, well, this frees up more time too for me to treat myself as an infant, and I don't care what the infant in me would do, whether it's some little stirring, I would go and tend to that part and go, oh, what's going on?
Yes.
I'm right here.
Great.
Yes. So
Good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, because I started to think, oh, I've been gentler with myself, but it's like, oh no, I would pick up the baby and go, oh, here I am, and then put her down and want her to be quiet now for lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Done now, Judy. Now shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so just finding that, like, well, now why would I expect an infant to behave that way? Like, what do I have else to do but take care of myself in my own mind and heart? So I can do that at any time. Just go and be with her and go, I'm right here. It's okay that you're scared. It's okay that you're
Perfect.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
found every time that's what it was. It was just a scared
Yep.
child. And that I really did have the ability. And even if the, kind of so-called adult part of me got scared too, well, that's okay too.
Yep. Yeah. And do you get that the scared child wasn't born that way? That the scared child interpreted circumstances and conditions and developed that over time. That was a conditioned way to be, not inherently part of the DNA that the child that you were born with.
Well, more than likely, I don't know that as well because I don't ever remember not feeling that. But also, I had a childhood trauma at like before the age of 2. Um, so that was before kind of memory.
Yep.
So when I brought that up also to the therapist, she was like, yeah, that can, definitely,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the body
yeah,
has that memory, not the mind, but the body. Yeah. But still recognizing that you weren't born broken or not enough,
right.
that's
Yeah,
conditioning that's created that. And that alone, that recognition alone opens up the possibility of changing it, of it being
right.
different.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that. That's good stuff.
Thanks for listening. And I don't know whether any of that resonates with you, Bianca, or could be a tool.
Somehow I found myself in the point of view of a tired mother. That there is love for the child, but she is also so fed up with taking care of this crying child. There is this guilt in mothers that how can I feel this way when it is my child and I'm supposed to love it. But
Well, any mother that tells me that they never get really angry or whatever towards that child, they're not telling the truth. Of course, that's normal and natural and quite reasonable to get that. Now, what you do about it's another story. But of course, you'll feel like it's exhausting trying to keep up with that child. And a great degree of helplessness because children don't listen to reason, so you can't reason it into behaving differently.
like there is always this feeling that I have to cope with this somehow. But I don't want to cope with this. I want to give up.
Mm. And what happens if you give up? What do you imagine will happen if you give up?
The child will feel abandoned. And even more scared.
Mm-hmm.
Giving up was actually a really good place that I got to. Because again, the exhaustion was also there and the frustration was also there. And so it left no choice. There wasn't then the resistance to want to get rid of it or for it to go away as much as like it's that paradox of that giving up was not trying to surrender. It was like a forced surrender that then actually allowed the opposite of what you fear will happen, Bianca, of not taking care of her or you as the mother. It flips that. The fear is that is what will happen, but it might be interesting to see what in actuality does happen
Yes,
if you
but
give up.
I also feel it's not a choice.
Right.
A mother doesn't choose if she gives up on her baby or if she copes with it. She copes with it till she can. She's just not able to.
Yeah.
It's not a choice.
So what does the attending involve? The attending to the baby that the mother role has. What's actually involved in that? It would presume that it leads to exhaustion, and that's where the wanting to give up comes from. But what is it that leads to the exhaustion? What is happening? What is the tending itself? Is it reassurance? Is it I don't know. What is it? Can we define it? Sorry.
Distracting, calming,
Right.
sometimes
Yep.
forcing myself to go through.
Hmm. So if if you stopped distracting and calming, would it be possible to still communicate to the baby in you that it's not abandoned, that you're helpless to know what to do, but you're still there to support? Is that a possibility?
I don't think it means anything to the baby that I'm here.
Mm. But what I'm getting at is that it's engagement that stops it from feeling abandoned. And is it?
But I'm doing something about it, distracting or calming.
Mm. So is it possible to not wear yourself out doing those things, but do something else that fulfills that need for engagement from the baby? So instead of calming and distracting, if we said it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be whatever we feel we need to distract or calm it about. That would be a different way of looking at it that would still provide engagement, would still make it not feel abandoned. And it would also...
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be scared like shit.
That's actually what I found, that yes, it is. I found that here, that it was thinking that I couldn't handle that and then testing it out. I kept wanting to not feel it, wanting it to go away. And again, ironically, just not trying to console it or calm it or wish it away and just be with it helped loosen the attachment to the thought that's kept spiraling around. I want to quit feeling this. I want to, there's nothing I can do. And ultimately, there wasn't anything I could do except like give up and let it move. And it comes up again. It's not like, but again, there's been more of that's what to me helped also build that you had mentioned too about like not loving that part. But I was able to see more how innocent. I couldn't then kind of not love it because I saw how innocent and scared it was from a different perspective and not needing to console it and calm it as much as like be with it, because it is definitely difficult to not see it as a separate being, but like, no, this is me as a child and that's still me as an adult.
Yep, it's in you.
So yeah, they get merged then too, of like, no, it's not just the infant. I don't even have the mother capability to console the child. And it was like, okay, then both, bring both to the feeling of the fear. And it's not about consoling it, it's just being with it. It's very counterintuitive. We want to get away from something that feels awful. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it sounds like, like you're a mother, you have a crying baby in dark room, and you go in there and you just sit by the crib, the baby crying and crying, and you just sit there. Well, terrifying on many levels.
Well, I also, but actually, I think I also came up with something ahead of time, which wasn't me as an infant. It was because what I could relate to more was a kitten or any small animal that, in order to get it to trust me, I'm not going to start sticking a stick at it and saying, come on, come out of the cage or whatever. I'm going to just sit there with it. And give that some time to sit there with it. And that helped. That helped for a long time too, with it not being about me, but being how would I approach a scared kitten? Because that was something that I did know how to do.
I had pet rats, so
Yeah.
similar.
And in a way, it's an experiment too. So once catastrophe doesn't occur, then a little bit of trust has developed, or a little bit less of the fear of a threat. So it's like, in order to change the belief, we have to have an experience, and in a way that means that we try things, maybe a little bit at a time, but we just experiment. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It feels good, Michelle, what's happening for you. It feels like there's discovery happening, and it's in the right direction. It feels good. Okay, well, I think we might wind up for the night, eh?
All right.
Thank you.
Get some sleep.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, for coming on. That was awesome. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Good stuff. Yeah, glad you're here.
Thank you.
Bye, Bianca. Thanks for being here. Bye, Maja.
Thanks, bye.